Hi everybody, how are you doing? Welcome to Storm Reads, and today I'm going to be doing my October wrap-up. It's a little chilly. Now that it's November, it seems like it's gotten really chilly here where I'm at, and I am not happy about it. I would rather have hot weather than cold weather, and that's just me. I don't like cold weather at all. Anyway, let's get to the books. I read 11 books in October, which I think is pretty good because I was kind of slumpy at times, and I was also doing a lot of horror movie watching since it was October, and I was just really in the mood for it. And so 11 books is pretty good for me. One was a graphic novel that was only like 32 pages, so that kind of helped a little bit. But overall, I'm pretty proud with what I did. And I participated in 2 readathons, the Hocus Pocus readathon and the Spookathon, and I didn't get all the books read and everything and meet all the challenges, but I thought I did fairly well, especially since it seems like as soon as I pick out books for a readathon and I get ready, I want to read something else. So I thought I did pretty good. And I'll go through those books for those, but I will also link the wrap-ups to both of those down below because I talk about them a little bit more there so that I don't make this such a lengthy video. And so the first book I'm going to talk about is The OK Witch by Emma Steinkellner. And this was a graphic novel arc that I got, and it's about this young girl. Her name is Moth. It's about this girl Moth, and she loves everything, all things witches and stuff like that. And then she ends up finding out that she is actually from a line of witches, and she wants to embrace her witchiness. But her mother, who grew up in a different kind of atmosphere, does not want anything to do with being a witch. And so it's kind of like a coming of age story for this young witch. And it was really cute. I liked it. I wasn't like big on the graphic art style, but it was still pretty good. And I think I give this 4 stars. In Her Skin by Alex Kester. I think that might be how you say it. And this was a pretty good thriller. I think I gave it 4 stars. It was about a girl, Maggie, who is a writer. She's like a brand new writer, debut, and she's got anxiety and she doesn't want to be out there in the public, but she has to go on like a book tour. So she hires Sloane to be her out in the public eye. And then it's about a detective, I think her name was Rachel, who is working a missing persons case, which happens to be Sloane. And it has the 3 different POVs, and through the POVs we find out what's happening. And it's kind of like I'm gonna guess like the Maggie and Sloane is a little bit in the past, what has happened to lead up to why Rachel is in the present looking for Sloane, and kind of what happened to her and everything. And it was pretty good, and it did catch me off guard a little bit at the end, like the little twist or whatever, so that was kind of cool. And I would recommend it if you like thrillers. I really did like it. This is my first time listening or reading this author. And I can't remember who the narrator was. I'll have to look it up and put it down here. But it had 3 narrators, and I think that was the thing that I didn't like the most about it, is for 3 different narrators, they all sounded the same to me. And so for the most part, I always thought it was just one narrator. But I'll put them down here so you'll know who they are. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. Read The Whisper Man, and this is white ones are not good on Kindle. Anyway, so it's The Whisper Man by Alex North, and I gave it 3 stars. I was a little disappointed. I didn't quite care for it as much as I was wanting to, and a lot of that's on me. I thought it was going to be a lot more kind of a spooky thriller, because I thought it was going to have more to do with this whispering out the window, the Whisper Man. And mainly it was just basically a crime thriller about finding this guy who they thought that the Whisper Man had an accomplice, and now that, and he's, the Whisper Man that they caught is in jail, but there's this other one, and now they're trying to find him, and how it involves the guy Tom and his boy and everything. But it just, I was thinking there was going to be more whispering in the windows and spooky kind of things, and more kids being taken and things like that, and there really wasn't. And so that was on me. I thought it was going to be different, so I was a little bit let down. But it's got really good ratings, and so other people might like it more. And so I would just, decide for yourself and try it or not try it. But it was okay for me. Witch Snapped in Westerham, and this one's by Deanna Lister, yeah. And this was just a cute little cozy mystery about this lady here. I think her name was Lucy, and she finds out that she is a witch and that her brother's been kidnapped, and so she has to go from Sydney, Australia to London to help find her brother. They're hoping that with her witch abilities she can help find him, and she finds out that one of her witch abilities, because she is a photographer, is that she can look through her camera and she can see like scenes that of the past that have happened, and she can also see things that are like maybe going to be a little bit in the future through her camera lens, which I thought was kind of cool. And there's this paranormal bureau that she has to help and everything, and it was cute. It was kind of a little slow, I think, for a first in the series, but I do believe since once they got all the kind of like building up of the world of the whole witch thing and how that works at the bureau and all that stuff, that the ones after that will probably be a lot better. But it was okay, and I believe I gave it 3, maybe 3.5 stars, somewhere around there. And so those were all the books that I read for the Hocus Pocus readathon. And then I read Close to You by Carrie Wilkerson. Keep forgetting their names. Oops. Carrie Wilkerson. I've read him before, and I've enjoyed his books, so I thought I would like this one, and I did. It was a little bit slow at times, but I think the twist at the end is what made this book for me. And sometimes it will and sometimes it won't, and I really kind of liked how it ended. And this one is about a lady who, I cannot remember her name, sorry, who she sees her ex-husband, but in a picture, but she knows she can't be seeing him. It has to be somebody else. Something else is going on. It can't be him because she has killed him and he's dead and buried or whatever. She had gotten rid of the body. And so she's fairly certain it can't be him. How can he be back? She does know he is dead. And so she's trying to figure out exactly what in the world is going on. And it was pretty cool. The ending on what all is going on and what happened and everything was what I thought, made it for me, finding out exactly what happened, the twist. It was pretty cool. And so, yeah, I gave this 4 stars. Then I've got Beneath London's Fog by Iona Caldwell. And I didn't enjoy this one as much as I was hoping for. It just wasn't quite spooky enough for me. I gave this 2 stars. It was about a vampire, and it was from his point of view. And it was a short one. It was almost a novel. It was pretty short. And I think this one suffered from being too short. If it would have been longer, I think that it would have been better. And I might have liked it more if I could have just got a little bit more detail about the vampire. And maybe a little bit more of his backstory. It gives you a little bit, but it's just not, it wasn't enough to really draw me in. And it just, I don't know, it just wasn't very good. And a lot of people liked it, but I just didn't like it that well. And then I read, let's see, the little graphic novel. And I read this graphic novel called Something is Killing the Children. And I believe it's from James Tyrone the Fourth, I believe. It doesn't say it on here, so I am not quite sure. I think that was who wrote it, maybe illustrated, I'm not sure. but this was like 32 pages. It's the first in a series, and it just came out in September of this year. I just seen that the second one is out now, so I've got to get that one on Hoopla. I got this one on Hoopla, and it wasn't too bad. I mean, it was just the startup, and you know, so it's just kind of getting built up. But there is this weird creature that is killing kids and everything. It is a little graphic for some that might not like graphic, especially towards like children that are in the. They look like they were probably 13, maybe somewhere around there. They do get killed, so I mean, and it is in here and stuff. So if you don't like that, you might not. If you don't want to see that kind of stuff, you might not want to read this graphic novel. But then there's this, looks like a young lady that looks like she's maybe in her early, or, well, late teens, I would say, who is going to be like the monster killer and everything. So I gave this 4 stars because I really liked it. I like the graphic art style, and I am curious. It gave me enough that I am curious to see what's going to happen next, which is why I want to get the next one to see how this girl is going to be killing these monsters or whatever. So, and that was all the ones that I got read for the Spookathon. And then I read Slash by Hunter Shea, and I really like this one. I gave it 4 stars. It is a new take kind of on the slasher trope. It's about Guy Todd. He goes to Hayden Resort because he knows that his fiance who committed suicide left something there, and he wants to find it, and they're going to be shutting it down. She survived a massacre there, and she's the final girl, and she just couldn't take it, so she ends up committing suicide. And he needs more closure, and he thinks that, you know, if he could just find out more about what happened while they were there, and that since she had left a video there, he wants to go find it. Him and his friends go there, and while they are there, bad things happen because the wrath is back. That's what it says there, and that is the thing that is in there that did all the killing before. And it's a little slow for the first probably 70 to 100 pages, somewhere around there. And then once they get into the Hayden Resort and they really get going, then it really picks up, and that's when all the gory parts happen. So it got a little bit better then. But I really liked it. He's one of my favorite authors, so I highly recommend you try him. And then I did my very first read-along. I've never participated in one of those before, but we did. It was called Hextober, and we read Hex by Thomas Olde Hoevelt. I'm not exactly sure how you say his last name, sorry. But this was pretty interesting, but it wasn't like great. I gave it 3 stars. I was kind of invested and interested in it at the beginning, but then the ending was really messy, and it just I didn't care for the characters all that much. I didn't really get wrapped up into what was happening to them. I could really care less, whatever. And there were some sad parts, but then it didn't really bother me all that much. It was like, oh, okay. And so I know there was some in our read-along that really, really loved it, and then there were some that was like me and just thought it was just okay. And it's about a town that's cursed with this witch that's been there forever, and some teens who do some bad things because they're tired of being trapped in this town, but then that just snowballs a bunch of bad stuff that happens. And it was okay. You know, I'm glad that I read it, but it just wasn't, you know, wowing. And then I listened to The Long Call by Anne Cleves, and I thought this one was okay. I gave it, I believe, 3, maybe 3.5 stars, somewhere around there. And it's the new in a series, the Twin Rivers series, I believe, and it's about this detective, and I've forgotten his name. It's either Matthew or Michael, I can't remember. Anyway, and there was a guy who was murdered, and then it leads to a facility that cares for mentally challenged people. There was a little Down syndrome woman who got kidnapped, I think there was 2 of them that got kidnapped at different times, and it all connected with what was going on with the murdered man and everything. And it was pretty decent mystery. It just, I don't know, there were some things in it that I just wasn't really big on, and it's my personal preference. So I know other people will probably not have any qualms with that and it won't bother them, and they will probably enjoy this. It wasn't for me, but it was still decent, so I gave it 3 stars. And then I also listened to Brutal Telling by Louise Penny, and this one was pretty good. I would say that it was probably one of my favorite ones so far out of the series. This one is about a guy who is found murdered in Olivier's bistro, and Inspector Gamache and his wife are on vacation. They're having a holiday at this place that's pretty close to where Three Pines was, and so he ends up getting wrapped up in having to try to figure out what happened while they are celebrating their anniversary, I believe it was, at this place. And it's kind of hard-hitting for Gamache because he likes the people in Three Pines, and whenever it comes to who done it, it kind of bothered him a little bit, and so I liked it. I thought it gave it a little bit more emotion and things. But I'm excited to, well, actually, I'm currently reading the next one in the series, so my goal is by next year to get caught up on this series. This was, I believe, number 5. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it, and that is all 11 books that I read in October. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye.